So we all think, particularly the first generation doctors think the life of a second generation ophthalmologist is full of roses. But here we have a person who is going to talk to us about the challenges of second generation ophthalmologists. I think challenges starts with the presentation itself.
Can you please upload my presentation? Good morning, everyone. A warm welcome from the team ARC. The topic given to me by Dr. Prashant sir was second generation ophthalmologist visit, is it a boon or the bane? So let us see how it goes. So when he gave me this topic, I looked into it, some literature search. An estimated of 10 trillion is expected to change the hands and be managed by the second generation entrepreneurs. So when I Googled it, what is $10 trillion? So I couldn't count these rupees at all. So then I realized how important is the second or the third generation, the business, because it is certain that the economy of the nation as well as the world will be driven by these second generation entrepreneurs. Technology, competition, ever-changing workforce makes it more and more challenging. And this will be coupled with the active involvement of the first generation in decision making as well as running of the business. Now, let me look into it. Superficially, it may seem like second generation ophthalmologist, ye sab upar se paide hue hain. They are all born with silver spoons, golden spoons, all various spoons. And it may seem that they have their journey cut out for them. The networks, the nuts and bolts are already fixed in place to launch them to instant success. I'm sure many of us might have thought like that. But is it really so? Looking back, the history reveals how erroneous that assumption is. Each second generationer has to or had to prove his or her worth in ways more than one. In fact, in one or more the spotlight, right under the glaring eyes of the naysayers, one of the authors says that if they failed, then, arey yaar, itna bhi nahi kar paya, masik thasik, all those things. If they sail, then like, okay, lineage hai, sab kuch diya hua hai. So there is very less credit. So it's called as from fail to sail or fail and sail. So these are some important things which I thought I should share with you. One can learn from the experience of their parents, but the hard work, the skill, the capability, and the luck are one's own. Hard work is not going to be genetic, to be transmitted down to the next generation. We have to gather it. Current day medicine has become the public domain. And as you all know, it's been democratized. So one cannot hide behind the shadows of the giants for a long time. Might be for a short time or minimal time you can be under the covers, but not all the time. And ultimately, it's one's merits that take the center stage sooner or later. So few of the important points which I thought I should share is for the second generationers or third generationers, take those risks and not fear failure. The second generation entrepreneurs, in fact, the research has shown that compared to their peers, they might have to do more research and processes and relying less on their gut. I might say that, okay, I'll open a new hospital, ye chal leta hu, ye naya equipment khol sakta hu, I can take a new equipment. But the second or the third generationers have to rely on the statistics. They have to do more and more research because one small mistake can topple the management. One small mistake can cause a big loss or huge losses to the empire which has been built by the first generation. It is pertinent to take risks that are needed for the business, especially when to move in the right direction. And at the same time, this risk must be followed through meticulous work to ensure that the chance for the successes are high. Hard work and diligence will definitely pay for the path. So moving into the uncharted territory. So second generation or the third generation has to redefine the process and operations to extract maximum out of the hospital. So, and make them future ready. Say for example, how long will the hospital sustain from its current form? How much growth and profit are we expecting in the next 5 years? Will the patients like the services what we are offering? Because now we have to address this Gen Z and Gen Z plus Gen X and all those things. So are we already addressing all those issues which are required in the present day scenario? So secure an enabling environment within the family to ensure especially a positive response. Succession planning, transition planning. I think these are the most two important words. First, we need to have the clarity amongst the members. What's the expected rights and the duties? If there are, I have seen few of the families, there are 9 to 10 ophthalmologists, or in some of the bigger institutions, I've even seen 15 people, ophthalmologists of the same family, running in the institution. So there it comes. So if it's one or two, father and son or father and daughter, it doesn't make much of difference. But when you have more and more people, then the real testing starts. So clarity has to be very important. Ensure that there is a positive progress when it comes to future expansion or planning. The young leaders especially need to look into the global trend. What are the emerging risks? What are the opportunities? What are the threats? Breaking the barriers. We need to take the calculated risk, focusing on their people, and of course, making innovation the new normal. So transition, as I said, it can be a complex and challenging processes. It may be helpful for the second generation leader to especially seek the support from the well-wishers, true friends, advisors, mentors, so that they will be in a right direction or the right path, and they do not take any wrong directions. Expectations and pressures. Yes, definitely the second generation or third generation family members may feel pressure to live up to the accomplishment of their parents and to uphold the family's reputation. Right? This can lead to stress, anxiety. And another important point which cannot be forgotten is the conflict within the family members. So working in a family business can lead to conflict, and especially if there are different opinions about the directions of the business, if there are any difference in the communications or the decision making, then there can be conflicts. So one thing I still remember, one of my senior always used to tell me that whenever in the family member there is a dispute, he used to say in Kannada, "Hotte means just swallow it. Don't try to bring it up. Just whatever happens, just swallow it, just swallow it, just swallow it." Balancing family and the work roles. Second generation family members may struggle balancing roles as both family members, as an employee or an employer. This can especially if there is a conflict between the two roles. And of course, maintaining a professional image. It can be difficult for the second generation family members to establish a professional image, that of the parents. Now this is important. Everything will be yours mentality. So what happens, even after the years of working hard for the business and achieving great results, the second generation would be discouraged to step out of the norms and the borders of the company, saying that everything will be yours one day. So try out new things then. Don't poke your head into mine. So these are, again, the common differences which happens between the first and if the age gap is little less. If the age gap is more, then they might not. But if there is a less age gap, then they will say, "Jab tera time aayega, tab dekh lena, tab mera time hai, ab main dekh leta hu." So that is usually the thing which is happening. So let's look into a few of these. Himani Modi Group of Companies, 1933. So she said, she comes from a very, I think they have crossed thousands of crores. Coming from the next generation, I have instilled freshness and a novel style of working, incorporating more dynamism and diversification of the current portfolio. So when asked what is the challenges she faced, the biggest challenge for me, what she said, was to work extra hard, to be actually taken seriously. I have been working as a woman entrepreneur since the age of 21, and I would probably say it took 5 years for my family to consider me seriously. So even though she had all the degrees, but still the family to, try to believe on you, it really takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. Anuj Saxena is the MD of the Elder Healthcare, part of a 700 crore elder group of companies, incorporated in 1988 by his father. Then he had a hobby of television and acting and all those things. So he went into became a television anchor. Then he said, when I joined Elder Pharmaceutical, earlier I had handled only marketing, which brought me a lot of international association, medical prescription business. 5 years ago, I took over the mantle, and then I moved from 3 products to a wide range of products catering to personal grooming, cosmetic, men grooming, etc. So what important point we need to learn from here is the challenge was to take the brand, that is the Elder, to newer heights, keeping in mind the values, the principles, and the ethics of what his father had organized in that business. Now the second generation want to do a complete makeshift of what was done before to have it. But the most important thing we should not forget in the second or the third generation is keeping the core values of what was found by our founder people of that organization. That should never be deviated. Doing things differently. Coming to a little bit of my story, I think I have only 2 minutes left. So I was like doing everything, working hard, and yes, 50 years, 57 years, now you have come just 15 years, what different things you are going to do. Now I thought that, okay, if I have to convince, then I have to do things in a different way. So I thought I'll just take an executive MBA, which is a 1-year course I finished from Joka, IIM Calcutta. And how it helped me, I'll just show you in a small example. We did a feasibility report on establishing an eye care hospital. This was a project report we did just in 3 days. So to ascertain whether it is technically feasible and profitable to set up a dedicated hospital. So what are the things? We looked at the part analysis, value net analysis, concepts of fundraising, HR methodology, marketing, PERT analysis, and Gantt chart, which I had never heard of any of these things before. And then we did into the resource-based analysis, then the part analysis, proposal, value net analysis. So why I am trying to tell this is, even including the financials also, why we need to look at the financials, what is the PERT analysis, that is, what is the optimistic time, what is the most likely time, pessimistic time to complete that project. So these all terms are very, very important nowadays if you want to take your organization to the more higher level. So why I shared that financial example was earlier, whenever the chartered accountant comes and used to share me, sir, this is the chartered accountant, I used to smile like this, very nice, very nice. Then he used to know that this fellow knows nothing. Then when you have these kind of courses or look into the more and more financial, looked into it, now I'm asking him, what is my P&L? Show me my this thing. Show me what is my EBITDA, what is my profit after tax, what is the earnings before tax. Now he is telling, okay, so he has learned something, so I have to be a little more serious with these guys. So even these management people, whenever you talk to them, so you have to know something before we talk to them, otherwise they take it very lightly. So I'm not boosting myself, but as a team, what we could do after all these things, we could establish 8 tertiary or 10 tertiary care centers, 10 affiliated centers, 2 community hospitals, 20 vision centers, and finally I could say that around 40 cities the hospital could cover. So please don't mistake me, I'm not boasting of myself, but definitely it will add value to the organization. So whatever we try to learn, new things will definitely be good for you. And this is our new center setup, and we are fortunate that our Vice President of India just inaugurated 13 days back. And lastly, I would like to say, Marie Curie, right, received the Nobel Prize. Then what happened? Irene Curie also received the Nobel Prize. So it's just a few years. It doesn't mean that when the first generation, second generation will not succeed or anything. J.J. Thomson, Nobel Prize in 1906, proved that electron is a particle, but his son also proved in the Nobel Prize also. He also won a Nobel Prize. So struggle, build on the foundation of your parents, but never be ashes in the fire. In Kannada, they say, benki olagendu boodi agbeda anta. So comparison is the thief of joy. And my last slide is, let the second generations be, let them live their life without being judged or compared. Being born into any particular family is a destiny. What they make of the journey that follows is their determination. Some favors, some disfavors, some pluses, some minuses, all are the part of the game, same as anyone else. So just enjoy it. Thank you very much for your...
Thank you, Dr. Shrinivas.
Thank you very
That was very interesting. And I also feel that second generation is really very challenging because you're always in the spotlight. You need to prove and reprove everything because everyone looks up to you with higher expectations. But one thing you very rightly mentioned, it is ultimately the merit that takes a center stage. So you need to prove your merit doubly than your first generation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I request you to collect a certificate. And I call upon Dr. Vanati, Chief Editor, Indian Journal of Ophthalmology, to take up the stage.
Ma'am, one question. Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
Shrinivas, one quick question. If you're given a choice to redo things and... That's why I paused. So given a choice of being in the shoes of a first generation versus a second generation ophthalmologist, which one would you choose and why?
I am born as a second generation, I will definitely the second generation. This was asked to me by one of the correspondents from Times of India. How would you like to, they asked for, it was a personality development classes, and they asked, you want to start from that? One lady, she got up and she said, she was a daughter of a good businessman. She said, I want to start from a scratch. Because what my father did was but I want to have my own identity. I want to start everything. That was very good, liked by the people. But I slightly beg to differ in this, is because, see, your parents or your grandparents have worked so hard to bring it to this level. So now why again you want to start from the scratch? You take from what it is there. They have already given you the launching pad. You work hard. You work on your merit. You work, put your extra efforts there. Then definitely you can, so I would like to say that definitely it will have platform given, it's a ready-made thing, as they said, silver spoon, golden spoon, whatever spoon. But you need to know how to maintain that spoon also. It's not that easy. Thank you.